Hey everyone, so today I'm going to take you through my custom brush set for Procreate. It consists of 6 brushes and I'm going to take you through why I created them, what they do, and how you could possibly get your hands on them for free if you're watching this video at the right time. So with that said, let's jump into it. Okay, first of all, I want to say that this brush set isn't like a specialized textured brush set. Like there's no hair brushes or smoke or, leaves or anything like that. This is just an essentials brush set. And by essentials, I mean the brushes that you need to do the basic tasks for digital drawing, things like line work, applying paint and blending. The reason I created these brushes is because some of the default brushes in Procreate I felt didn't have that sense of buttery smoothness. I mean, there are some, but those are more specialized brushes with textures. I just wanted a simple brush that had just the right amount of taper, pressure, and opacity to give me that buttery smooth glide. It's pretty hard to explain how a brush feels, so let's just jump in and I'm going to show you the first 2 brushes which are specialized just for sketching and line work. Hang on a second guys, one thing I missed, make sure you've set up the pressure curve in global settings before you use these brushes. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can check out my video on my channel that goes into detail. It looks like this. Okay, back to the brushes. I use this brush for line work and cartooning, and if you've been following the channel for a while, you know that my art style uses a lot of thick, dark lines, and it's kind of meant to replicate a marker. And I use this for all my finished illustrations, so if I have a light underdrawing or sketch, I can use this over the top of it and get a really clean finish. The really good thing about this brush is it's stable without taking away too much control. So I think I've tried other stable brushes and they felt way too programmatic or like the software was doing it for me. Whereas this one still gives you enough leeway to feel loose and organic, but at the same time keeping things stable and really clean. And like all the brushes in this set, it has a soft, buttery smooth feeling so that when you're drawing, it's a good experience. The soft sketch pen is, well, for sketching. I created this one without any stabilization, so it picks up all the nuances of your strokes on the iPad, and it's just a really natural, good all-around purpose brush for drawing and getting out your original ideas and roughs. The reason I created this brush is because I wanted it to imitate the feel of the airbrush with a hard edge in Photoshop. This was a brush that I always used just for drawing and sketching and creating characters and stuff like that. So I needed something that would help me feel at home in the iPad and Procreate. The really good thing about this brush is it has a wide range of pressure. You can get in and get deep darks for your line work, but at the same time you can get really light and use it for shading, cross-hatching, just general strokes that help define forms in your sketches and make them feel more alive. One thing I didn't really like about a lot of the default brushes in Procreate was they were very binary, very on and off. So the moment you hit the iPad, it's just fully black, and then when you get off it, it just turns off. I like something where as you release pressure, it gets lighter, softer, maybe also shrinks in size just a little bit so that it gives you that sensation of dragging your pen off the paper. And I guess the physical analog of this brush might be like a ballpoint pen, where if you lightly drag a ballpoint pen on paper, you can get some really light lines, but if you push hard, you can get really deep, dark blacks too. Okay, so now that we've got the drawing and sketching brushes out of the way, let's jump into the next 4, which are specifically for painting. So this brush is a general purpose paintbrush just for getting paint onto the canvas. It generally blends pretty well. And you might be thinking, well, what's so special about it if it's just a general purpose paintbrush? And well, number one, it has all those buttery soft properties of the previous 2 brushes. Things like taper, opacity, and size are affected by the amount of pressure that you put on the iPad with your stylus. But more importantly, I've dialed up the wetness of this brush just a little bit so that as you blend your colors together, it slightly shows each brush stroke with a slight edge. And the importance of that is it just gives you a sense of almost like a gouache type feel, and it leaves a bit of texture behind, because sometimes I feel like with the airbrush and with some of the softer brushes, they blend so well that they almost feel artificial in the way they blend. It feels like you're using a spray can or something like that. But the point of this brush is to still allow you to see some of those brush strokes, to see the movement of your pen and stylus, and the way that the strokes build up leaves a really rich textured finish that is still subtle and not too over the top. I use this brush all the time, and you can use it for 99% of all the types of drawings and paintings that you need. But over time, I found myself needing more nuance in the things that I was drawing, which leads me to my next two brushes, which are the horizontal and vertical brushes. So starting with the vertical brush, it allows you to draw strokes that are vertical. The best way to visualize what this brush does is it's just like a big brush that you'd use on a house. You know, like those really wide professional paint brushes that house painters would use. And it allows you to get a really vertical stroke that is wide and thick. And it doesn't leave any of those rounded edges or corners that you would get if you were using a round brush. And this is really good for filling in large areas and getting it down a lot of paint without that rounded circly edge filling up the canvas. Basically, it just looks a lot more professional, and I feel like it adds kind of a dimension to the texture of your artwork without being too overbearing. Similarly, the horizontal brush is exactly the same concept, except it allows you to do horizontal strokes. And really good uses of this would be in landscape and environment painting, where you need to get down large portions of, for example, the horizon or plains or landscapes down really quickly. And you don't want that round brush texture again creeping into the painting all over the place. So after a while of using the round brush, the horizontal and the vertical brush, I found myself wanting to get even more nuance. Because sometimes there's times where you want to get into the small nooks and crannies and have a really sharp edge or something that's really pronounced and accurate. And that's where the wedge brushes come in. I've kind of grouped these all as one brush, but when you download the pack, you'll see there's actually 4 of them, and that's to represent the direction of each brush. So I've got north, south, east, and west. And the point is each brush is a pointed wedge in the direction of the name. And then the back end of the wedge is kind of softened and tapered so that it gives you a nice soft taper. So it allows you to get into those small little edges and nooks and get a really clean, sharp corner. And you can also use it just by dragging the brush across the canvas, and it gives you kind of this hard edge with a soft taper at the back end of it. So I feel like these brushes are super versatile. You can either use them to draw brush strokes or to add texture and pointed edges everywhere, which I've done in this drawing of, which is supposed to be me, but I've used it for the hair. You can see a lot of pointed edges create a really soft porcupine-y like look without looking too mechanical or programmatic, and still looking natural. I feel like the wedge brushes are also super helpful when you're drawing portraits or faces, especially when there are really small nooks and crannies that require a bit of nuance. So for example, like the gap here between my cheek and my mouth, there's a slight crease here. Using the wedge brush to create that crease just looks a lot nicer than using a round brush at a really small size and trying to get it to look sharp. The round brush will always leave that kind of rounded property or sensation with your brush strokes. So having this wedge just makes things super crisp and clean. Okay, so that was my custom brush set for Procreate. Before I go into how you guys can get your hands on it, I do want to do a quick life update. So right now, as I'm filming, it's the end of 2022. So I probably won't have any more videos out before the end of the year. Thanks for following along, everyone. I really do appreciate everyone that has subscribed, watches my videos, and likes these videos. And also, if you could like this video, that would also be really awesome. Yeah, I won't be making any more videos this year, but for a good reason. And the reason why is because my wife and I are currently expecting our first child, a baby girl. So she could come out at any moment. So I don't think I'll have time to be, organizing videos or writing scripts or anything like that. This will be the last video, but I will see you guys in 2023. But anyway, if you want to get my custom brushes, please go to my website at jaywalkerpictures.com. There I'll be giving the brushes away for free until the end of 2022. And this is just to reward the people that watch my videos regularly or have notifications turned on. You will see this video within that window where the brushes will be free. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Have a happy holidays and New Year, and I'll see you all in 2023. Bye.